Leauanae-Wally, who is part of Property_Journey 101. And let's hear her story.
Hey!
Yes, how are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you, Marianne, having me.
And welcome to our very first Lunchtime Vibes for June.
Cool. So alofa lava o Debra Leauanae-Wally. Ba losu forma langi mama. The page is called Property Journey 101. We were previously Journey to 528 when we were documenting our journey to our first home, and things have changed quite a bit since we did that. Because of the things that have been happening and my experience of owning our first home and then some other things happening, decided to change things up and kind of start dabbling in the area of property, especially because I was starting to help friends and family with their journey. And so now it's just kind of making it official.
I love how, you know, you're right in the current stage of your journey. I think it's really important for people to hear before. It's like when I talk about being Dr. M, I'm like dropout to doctorate, to recognize that, you know, the pathway wasn't straight, but there is a pathway for us. So if you can just, I think, just start from where the dream and desire, maybe not specifically to own a house, you know, to have property, but what is the big dream? And then if you could lead us into that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think it really started when I met Joe. You know, once we, you know, established our relationship, and then we started to started to talk about our dreams and, you know, our 5-year plan and all that kind of stuff. That's where it kind of really ignited.
Away, Joe. Away, Joe.
Yes, sorry.
Maybe away, Joe.
Joe is my beautiful husband. Amazing West Papua man that I met 6-7 years ago now, and we got married back in 2017, and 2016, sorry, and that's where the journey of setting as a couple, setting our goals and what we wanted. And part of that discussion was talking about how, or, you know, do we want to own our home? You know, is that part of what we want to do? And we decided very early on that yes, we want to own our home. And it was a 5-year. It was something that it made me want to start the journey page to document it, so that anyone, just like Joe and myself, can take that journey too. Because you don't need to be rich to own a home, but you need to be savvy to own a home. And that's you know, having the right people and the right in monitoring your budget.
Talk about, so I always say, surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. They don't, you know, like, we all have something to bring to the table, right? So I feel like we'll have knowledge. So can you just talk to me about the journey of the people that surrounded you that were smarter than you in this area? Because now you're the person for me that's smarter than me in this area. So yeah, could you share about that?
Yeah, and it's because, and like I shared about Ashu, Ashu's a, you know, a dear friend of ours and is a property investor. And from when he found out, you know, about Joe and I were getting married and so forth, the first thing he, you know, was a seed that he planted. He goes, Debra, get some land, you know, and he would just like pester us about just not just me, everyone around us. He wanted all of us to, you know, achieve this goal. And so it was Ashu, yes, and Shameen and Charles, Shameen's husband Charles, got alongside another friend of ours, Aruna, who's also a property investor, and really picking their brain and understanding the whole, because my biggest fear was having a mortgage. Because nowadays you can't buy your standard 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house for under 500, a brand new one. So, you know, when you think about it, that's $500,000, more than $500,000 that you're gonna, you know, be chained to literally for 30 years. So you want to do your due diligence and get alongside people that know their stuff and can give you advice on what to do.
Yeah, can you tell us about the transition from the house now to investment property? Because you're quite confident as you talk about that. And I think that's a key thing, confidence for us.
Yeah, and the biggest driver for investment was, for us, was how can I pay down my current mortgage faster because I don't want to be paying for 30 years. I want to be able to retire at the normal retiring age. I don't want to have to work. And if I do continue to work after retirement age, it'll be on my terms. It's because I want to work for part-time, or, you know, like I want to be able to live up my life without the worry of a mortgage. And so, and doing the same thing, talking to different people and asking, you know, is property investment the way to go? Because there's also shares. I don't know much about shares, but I know others have gone down the route of going into the share market. Not sure about that, but property made more sense to Joe and I. And so we wanted to get an investment property, not to say that we have investment property or to look like we're rich. That's far from. I actually do get nervous about talking about investment property because I don't want to be seen as, oh, she's a landlord, or you know, like there's always some negative, you know, attachment to it sometimes. So sometimes I do feel a bit nervous about talking about it, but I need to own it, you know, and we are now property investors.
But my recent trip back to Aussie in March was I got to purchase some property. So thank you to Property Journey 101, because I hung out with them last year, and I know this woman, like we've been like, hey, can you send me $50? I need to, yeah, cool. You know, from my student days, and hey, do you got any money for lunch? And you know, we flattered together. So to see us in the same boat and then watch her, you know, make a decision and then do the work, saving and, you know, teamwork with her husband, and then to be in her house, I was so inspired. I was so inspired, and I was like, you know what? It's like what she said, hey, if she can do it, anyone can do it, eh? So can you just talk to us through, I think what would be really helpful for us, the real basic things that we need in our toolkit if we want to be first home owners, or yeah. And I think the investment thing is another talanoa. Yeah. So could you take us through that, sis?
Yeah, the first thing is look at your finances, because that's going to be what determines whether you are successful in getting a loan. If you want to go into home ownership, it's all about your finances. And I remember sitting in front of the broker. So a broker is someone that helps you get a loan. So you can either go to the bank and the bank can help you, or you can go to a broker who has you know, the variety of different lenders that they can go to get you a loan. So I remember the first time sitting in front of my broker, and he just looked at me, and the first question he asked was, how's your credit rating? I was so embarrassed. I went, and it wasn't the greatest. So when you look at your credit score, it comes in like, it's like a heat map. And, you know, green is obviously really good. And then it goes down to amber, then red. I was like, you know, I like the sun. So I like those kind of colors. I can, you know, I can say now I am in the green. If you want to start with your home buying journey, the first thing you need to do is, you know, what are your goals in terms of where you want to live? You know, what kind of house do you want? Because that all kind of comes into how much you're going to end up having to borrow from the bank. So that's the starting point.
I think, you know, for me, when you were telling me this process maybe 2-3 years ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, my credit, you know, I had to give up my Netflix. What else do I have to give up? And what are some tips? You know, what did you learn? How did you give up your afterpay and, you know, walk around with the same clothes for the last year?
You know, if you really want it, you'll make it happen. You know, so we knew we really wanted to own our own home. So the sacrifices were easy. Eating spam and rice wasn't easy, but when you're gunning for a dream, if you're gunning for something you really want, the things like, you know, giving up the, you know, afterpay where I could have bought, you know, nice things and all that kind of stuff. I knew that once I'm here,
talk about, you know, your services. What is Property Journey 101 about?
Yeah, so it's all about supporting those who are wanting to start the journey, because as I mentioned before, it's a daunting process. And I remember when my cousin was asking me for my broker's number, I gave it to her, and then a couple of weeks I followed up with her and said, hey, did you call my broker? And she said, oh, no, I haven't yet. And then I was like, oh, do you want me to set up the meeting? And she goes, oh, okay, can you set that up for me? And I went, okay. And then she calls me later on and goes, oh, can you come with me to the meeting? and I said, oh, yeah, that's fine. And then she was saying things, I just didn't know what to say. I didn't know what questions to ask. And so part of our services is, we'll help you have that conversation. We'll help in terms of having the initial conversation to see exactly what you want, and then connecting you with the right people so that you be able to make an informed decision. So connecting you with the right professionals, like a broker, conveyancer, and all that kind of stuff. And also part of what we can also offer is doing what I did with you, Marion, and that is actually literally walking alongside you, going to look at land, and also going to look,
walking.
Yeah.
Walking, okay.
And so you're carried away when you're going to, looking at these display homes and wanting all the upgrades, It's, coming alongside you, looking at what you can afford, and then deciding from there what you want to do moving forward. So our services are connecting with the right people, and or literally walking alongside you to go visit land, see land, or potential builders.
I got two questions, right? So today, what's the biggest thing you want people to walk away with, and how do you own your vibe in your life?
Biggest one is if you're keen to own your first home, plan it out and see what your finances look like. And then the next step would be looking for a broker, or reaching out to myself, and I can help with that, taking the discussion a little bit further. And then how do I own my vibe in this space? I think owning the fact that I am a homeowner and now a property investor. I used to, I don't know if it's, I don't know, like I used to always get nervous about it. I never shared it. I've never shared it before on live, and I've never shared it on our property page, but I think just owning the fact, and being proud of our achievements, because, many of you know, if you've journeyed with us, we've gone through so many restructures, redundancies through the whole journey, and yet by God's grace, we are able to own our own home. We're able to own a property investment, and we've got amazing tenants. And then we're able to also live comfortably and still be able to do the things that we need to do as part of our family, supporting our families, but also live a comfortable life. And we're really blessed with that. So, and we don't take it lightly. We're always really grateful. There've been times that Joe and I just sit in our home, and especially when we sit out under our pergola area, we just sit there. Can you believe we live here? Yeah, extremely thankful for where we are.
Everybody, God bless. Own your vibe. Bye, everyone. Thanks, Debs.
Happy Samuel Leauanae-Wally. So fast forward.